That's right, Holly. You can hear them very well. In fact, the protest hasn't officially begun, but already you can see quite a demonstration here against Ahmadinejad. And this really has become an annual event here at the United Nations. Whenever the Iranian leader is in town, so many people gather, not only from around the United States, but also from around the world. This gentleman is from Luxembourg. She's from London. These people are from Paris. I've spoken with people from Germany. There are folks from Sweden as well. A huge crowd here and very, very well organized. They brought their own television setup, their own feeds. They're actually going to be transmitting this protest via satellite over the internet around the world. And of course, into Iran, where Iranians can watch this demonstration on their very own computers at home. Hala?
Protesters are gathered to voice their anger against Mahmoud Ahmadinejad.
For about 2 hours now, protesters have been gathered here across the street from the United Nations, protesting the presence of the Iranian president here at the United Nations. And it's been a very enthusiastic crowd, very enthusiastic, and also very dramatic. Have a look over here, a demonstration showing some of the repression that the protesters say have occurred in Iran, including a woman surrounded by stones, representative of women who actually have been stoned in Iran. The biggest cheers were for Mullah-Representative, who actually spoke from Paris, a direct feed from Paris. She's the leader of the opposition in exile. She called on the United Nations to condemn the Iranian regime. And this rally has been organized by Iranians from around the country. The fact is, we've been meeting people from all over the globe, from Germany, from Sweden, from Luxembourg, England, Paris, all coming here to express their anger at Ahmadinejad. I have one protester over here. You came from Toronto, correct? What message would you like to send by being here at this rally across the United Nations?
Actually, I came from Toronto and I'm a supporter of Mrs. Rajavi, which she wants a democratic and secularism government in Iran. And we just want to say that Ahmadinejad is not representing us. He's a criminal. He has to be in court for all the criminal he did. And we're just here to support Mujahideen.
Well, thank you very much. And that is what we've been hearing from the speakers all afternoon, basically that Ahmadinejad does not speak for the people of Iran. Hala, back to you.
All right, Alan Chernoff there, not too far from the United Nations right now, within the very close perimeter of the UN buildings, with protesters angry that Mahmoud Ahmadinejad is making this visit and disapproving of his leadership. Well, Alan Chernoff is at the site of a protest right here close to the United Nations building, where Iranians and others are saying they're angry Mahmoud Ahmadinejad is here. Alan.
For 2.5 hours, people were screaming and shouting here. You can see that the rally is breaking up right now, but for a good amount of time, and as I said, they were shouting down the president of Iran, shouting down his presence here in New York at the United Nations, criticizing the Iranian regime for human rights violations, violations of women's rights, and nuclear ambitions. Azadi, Azadi, they were screaming, freedom, freedom. And you heard the same call from the former mayor of New York, Rudolph Giuliani, the former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, John Bolton. But the biggest cheers were for Maryam Rajavi, who is the leader of the exiled opposition. She spoke to the crowd via satellite from Paris and called on the United Nations to criticize and to condemn the Iranian regime. Now, we have with us one of the protesters here. His name is Amir Imadi. Amir is from California. Amir, you have a family back in Iran in prison?
Yes, I have 18 members of my family who are in prison inside Iran since the uprisings last year, because I have 21 members of my family in Camp Ashraf, home of 3,400 residents.
So they're in exile in Iraq, in a refugee camp?
They're in exile in a refugee camp inside Iraq, and it's home to the PMOI, who's...
So for you, this must be terribly, terribly emotional to have the Iranian president here. What's your message to him?
Well, my message, along with the 28,000 others who've come here to demonstrate today, is we say no to Ahmadinejad and yes to Maryam Rajavi, who is the leader of the organization, the greatest opposition against the Iranian government, the PMOI. And our message to the United States, the UN, and the world is that we need to support Maryam Rajavi and this organized movement that promises democracy, a democratic, a secular, and a non-nuclear Iran. And it's really a shame that the dictator who victimized my family and 80 million people inside of Iran is in the United States today.
Okay. Amir, thank you very much, and best of luck to you. So, Holly, you can see the demonstrators breaking up, but for the bulk of the afternoon,